You ever been out shopping and wondering when you're walking up and down the car lots and you're thinking to yourself, which car is reliable, which one's not reliable, which one's fun to drive and which one's not going to last? We're going to walk down this car lot right here, assess each and every one of them for your viewing pleasure. Let's do this for some fun and get some value out of it at the same time. Life's too short to drive boring cars. Here we have a Range Rover. Clearly, we have a lot of issues with directed fuel injected issues, fuel pumps, injectors, brake systems, of course, as well as the self-leveling has been known to blow out on these vehicles, costing thousands of dollars. What do we have here? A little Cherokee, poorly known for reliability. They don't have reliability. They have a lot of electrical problems, transmission issues. You will expect problems, nickel and dime. Here we have a Hyundai. The older engines had problems. We had ABS issues with modules and wiring issues nonetheless. Now, while they're getting better, I wouldn't trust a Hyundai or Kia for another 10 years. Here we actually have an Audi. This one here is a 3.2 liter, 6-speed manual. It's a great ride. Definitely Audi. Watch out for the water pumps. You have direct injected carbon fouling issues like that, and timing chains are a big thing you got to think about with the Audis. Here we have a Chevy. This is a Cruise, not a great vehicle. We're going to have guaranteed problems. Gearboxes, you're going to put one tranny in, the next and the next. It is a piece of junk on wheels. You're going to have chassis issues, doors that sag, and you're definitely going to have engine issues. Blowing holes is a common issue. Yeah, they've blown pistons out on these. Of course, here we have a Jeep TJ. Very, very interesting vehicle. If you like to go off-roading, yeah, it works. But of course, it's the FCA or it's a Stellantis group product, and you're going to expect troubles. Of course, with water ingress, it'll drip in like a water bowl, like a fish bowl. You're going to have death wobble, so the front wheels can shake at high speeds by accident because the slop and the play in the front suspension. You're definitely going to have other issues with electrics. The TIPM, the totally integrated power module, which affects a lot of Dodge and Jeep products, which essentially sends your lights and your electrics on a disco trip. And then you have Volkswagen here. This is the Atlas. Clearly problems here with these vehicles. We know they have issues, shuffling heads, coolant consumption, they'll burn it, they'll leak it, as well as fuel issues. There have been known with fuel leaks with some of these, whistling noises on A-pillars, and a lot of other electrical gremlins. And then along, of course, we have the Infiniti Q50. This here does have engine troubles. We'd also know catalytic converters have been known to break down on these, misfires, and generally some electrical problems. They're not the worst vehicles on the planet. We clearly have a Ford Escape here, not great vehicles. The EcoBoost, we all know about those in different sizes and different capacities, have been known to consume coolant. They break down, they blow head gaskets, and then you're eating antifreeze. And of course, oil consumption, electrical problems in some cases. Some people swear by them. There's lots on the road, of course, but they're a breakdown price point vehicle, and they're clearly not built to last. They're not going to go very long. A BMW X3, as you can see, it's a 2022. It's got the 3-liter. Yes, that's a B48 engine. BMW's come up in reliability in recent years. That's good for a lot of miles. It's probably going to get at least 120, 150,000 miles out of it if you take care of your typical maintenance. Over here, we have another X3, but this time we've had the Turbo 6. This has got the B58 in it, even better for even more miles. And BMW has done a lot of great things in terms of reliability in recent years. Not perfect. Think about oil filter housing leaks. Think about valve cover gaskets. Think about water pumps. Now these actually have a mechanical water pump, which is better, but there are a few issues. You would definitely want to take care of maintenance. Kia Sportage, forget about it. Transmission issues, rod bearing problems, electrics galore. These are junk. A lot of people like them, but trust me, stay away from these older generation Sportage. Of course, here we have a Subaru. We know with the engines, a lot of people like them. It's a love-hate thing. A lot of these vehicles can go a lot of miles, but some of the engines have had some troubles with ringlands, burning oil. They all seem to consume it. And CVTs, the continuously variable transmission, are generally sort of weak. Not the greatest of vehicles. For Japanese vehicles, I would stay away from Subaru. Some people like them for the versatility in the all-wheel drive system. Again, Grand Cherokee, forget about it. Here we have a Lincoln. Obviously, it's an Aviator. This is their mid-size SUV. Turbo V6, good for over 400 horsepower. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, it's a third row, so it definitely does fit the bill for a lot of people, but it's not the best quality vehicle, and you're definitely going to see some issues with electrics, transmission, and it's rated one of the most unreliable luxury SUVs on the market. Jaguar SVR. I actually have a Jaguar F-Type. Of course, mine's an R, shares the same engine, 5-liter supercharged V8, makes over 550 ponies. Spectacular sound. You also have the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, very reliable, but there can be some problems with direct injected fuel pumps, as well as the infamous coolant Y pipe that can crack, split, dump your coolant everywhere. So there can be some issues here. The rear electric brake can be a problem with some of these as well. And we also can't forget about your infotainment system, which glitches out on these vehicles. But honestly, I love my Jaguar F-Type R. I would do it again, but just know this, you're probably not going to do much more than 100,000 miles with one of these vehicles. They're high strung, high performance, and they're probably not going to last a long time, but you'll have a lot of fun doing it. What do we have here? A Q5. We know Q5s, they are not necessarily the most loved in terms of the overall. If you need to have this, go with the SQ5, get the sport version. The Q5 here, there's been issues with engine troubles, timing chains, fuel injector issues, and just even leaks, water ingress in some of these vehicles. I would personally stay away from the base model Q5. And we have an E-Pace here. Stick with the V6, the turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, the Genium engine. They are known for some problems, and clearly, I mean, get past that, some fuel issues, and you can actually get them to run fairly reliably. But personally, I would stick with the supercharged V6. Makes it a much more lively experience. And another one, we have a BMW. This is an older 3 Series BMW. It has the glorious, what they call the N20. That's a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder engine before the B48. The B48's great now, but they had the N20 timing change on the earlier generation issues. Of course, coolant leaks, valve cover gasket leaks, oil leaks everywhere abound. This engine had some problems. I would personally stay away from this generation, and definitely not worth the trouble. And over here we have a Tesla, maybe 10 years on the battery warranty. After that, forget about it. So if you're looking at a Tesla, yes, they represent some fun value. If you want to get into the electrical market, that's probably the car to go with, simply because they have the better charging network. But there have been problems with quality control, electric gremlins, starting, stopping, fires, and just basically a vehicle that definitely lacked a little polish. They're getting better in later generations, but the Teslas in general are a ticking time bomb with the batteries, and then you're faced with potentially $30,000 or $40,000 battery bill when they're done. Ford F-150 is another one. Obviously one of the best selling full-size pickup trucks. I personally avoid them. Yeah, dropping valves in some of them. Now the latest recall, of course, we have a rear axle disassembly or breaking apart, potentially causing a rollaway vehicle. Of course, insulation under the drive shaft could fall on there, twist and roll. Fire recalls. There's a whole host of different issues you can expect with an F-150. They are one of the most popular because they're known as one of America's best-selling pickup trucks, but they do come with issues, and be sure that you find the right one if you're looking for a Ford. And next we have a relatively late model 2 Series BMW. It's a 230. This actually comes with a turbo 4-cylinder engine. This isn't the latest and greatest in 2 Series, but this does come with rear-wheel drive. You do get the 8-speed auto, which is great. That ZF automatic transmission is amazing. It's immaculate. It knows where to drive and shift, and it's actually relatively reliable. You can get in a manual gearbox, which is I would prefer if I was buying a 2 Series BMW like this. This latest generation of 4-cylinder engine is not the worst. It's not the best, but it definitely holds up. It's somewhat reliable, relatively easy to maintain, and isn't going to break the bank, not like the 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 that you're finding in the BMW world. And then we have the Land Rover Discovery, is another one. I personally actually had a neighbor that owned one. They didn't keep it very long. They had Lexus, then they decided to put one on a lease. They had this for 3 years. They had enough, they moved on. They had some troubles with the electrics in that vehicle as well. And we know historically, you're going to expect some mechanical problems with electrics, coolant as well, rear tailgate problems, and generally it's not going to be the most reliable. And as a result, the Land Rover Discovery is definitely one that you probably want to stay away from. And I hope you all enjoyed that. If you want to see much more of that, drop in the comment section below. I'd love to hear that, as well as don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hope to see each and every one of you in the next one. We'll see you all real soon. See you then. Bye.